Hello everyone, this is Enzo Eigen, the Alliance for Loki, and today's video is the most underrated defenders in each class. And so to start off this video, we need to talk about defenders and underrated. So the two big words in the title. And so of course we have champions who are very strong defenders, Serpent, Dark Phoenix, Kindred, High Evolutionary, Yelena. Those are all examples of defenders who are very strong, and so they are not underrated. Everyone knows they're good defenders. The second thing we need to talk about is, of course, game modes and nodes. Like Gwenpool can be a challenging defender with the right nodes. Any champion can be. And so this is a little bit trying to be like not specific to nodes at all and just in general. Because granted, any champion can be difficult with the right node combination. The other thing I want to talk about is, of course, counters. I mean, every champion has... Well, most champions have the perfect counter. Like Dark Phoenix, if you have Nico, you can finish with 100% health relatively quick. It's just that a good defender often has very few counters, and I feel like that's sort of, when I'm talking about underrated defenders, I'm looking at defenders that don't have a lot of great counters. Of course, even the underrated defenders will have counters that just obliterate them quickly. And the last thing I will talk about is, I think there's a little bit of the difference between like defender and trap. And so, like, I was debating whether Human Torch was an underrated defender, because in the right circumstances, you can trap people with Torch. Like, let's say they only have Phoenix, Wiccan, and I'm trying to think who's another one, good one, and Kushala left to fight against your Torch. They will probably lose because, you know, those attacks are either mystic or do energy damage, and they will feed his smolders, and once they get high enough, he goes into his Nova Flame, and none of them are immune to Nova Flame, and they will melt very, very quick. So I don't really consider that. Same with like Elsa. If you were running the recoil masteries and someone has a non-mutant, I mean, they would just blow up against her. So I don't know if that to me, that's not an underrated defender. It more goes back to my first statement about like node combination and how that can affect a champion. So without further ado, let's go and take a look at the list. And so I was doing a lot of gameplay today, trying to just work through all the champions and figure out which ones I thought were the best champions. And let's get to it with number one. You can see I was doing lots and lots of dueling. It's an interesting thing to think about, like underrated, overrated, counters, all those things. You can see most of my video is. Okay, so we're going to start with the skill champion, and you might have seen him already. So the first underrated defender, I believe, is Mole Man. So why did I put Mole Man as an underrated defender? I would say there's a couple of reasons. One, of course, you know, he takes away debuffs. And you see, once he takes away debuffs, you can't really parry him because he shrugs it off like, there, I totally missed it. And you can't hit him into his block at all because he will go unstoppable. And so he's a difficult defender, I feel. And so, you know, maybe this isn't the best matchup, but, you know, Red Skull is generally a pretty powerful champion. This matchup, he doesn't do so well because he is, not only is he immune to my shocks, but he would shrug them off anyway. And so, yeah, I really feel like Mole Man can be a stall. I feel like he is, you can't like hit into his block, which you often forget. And I think that makes him a very underrated defender in this game. He might be my next rank 4. On to the next. So that was skill. Skill is Mole Man. Also considered a Black Panther, as you can see here. And yeah, it was a hard choice, to be honest, between Black Panther or Mole Man. This is probably, I think, my most difficult choice. I could have gone either way. I feel like both have pretty good underrated defensive characteristics. Okay, on to the mutant class. So mutant, I'm choosing Gentle. And basically there's two things that I feel like make Gentle really tough. One is that he goes unstoppable every 15 hits. And this includes in the middle of specials. So it can be really annoying if you're not counting track, or in this case, I can throw my special, but also he's unstoppable. So I'm lucky he didn't attack me. And often when they go unstoppable, they attack you. The other thing that can make him tricky is, see, his special 2 gives him a lot of physical resistance. And so, though I don't ever get to the special 2 here, that means you're always dexing the SP1. You can counterattack the SP1. It's not that easy to do. It just requires a lot of, like, you know, moving in between the hits of his special before he throws a big piece of pavement. And so yeah, I definitely again, lucky I didn't get attacked there. Think that Gentle is a very underrated defender as the mutant. Next we have, who we have next? This is, what class? Is this Tech? Yes, this is Tech. So Shocker, I think, is an underrated defender, and he has some really, really good defensive ability. The first big one is once he gets to 50 charges, he is unblockable in his attack. The second is that he doesn't allow Limber, the mastery, to work, and so you can see his stuns are really quick, that they fall off, and now it's unblockable. And the third is, I feel like he's not so easy to counterattack with his specials, and so it's easy to get to try to counterattack the SP1. It's a pretty long one. Oh, and he also auto blocks too. I knew I had this video made for a reason. So there, he auto blocks my specials as well, and so that can be really annoying. So yeah, he has a lot of really good defensive abilities, and I'd say he can be a really challenging defender. He's the one I struggle with. Maybe he's not underrated. Maybe he is a good defender, and everyone knows it. But I would definitely say that he falls in that category of underrated defenders. Really powerful defender. Okay, next we have Scream. The Mystic, not the Mystic. The Cosmic class was my most challenging because I feel like there's a lot of amazing Cosmic defenders. But which one was underrated? And I debated a lot between her and Gore and I'm trying to think who else. And Noel. And I went with Scream only because I feel like there's two things that make her, well, there's one thing, it's her auto block that make her really underrated, and that is the auto block. Because if you have to bait out a heavy, she can auto block you. Then there's the auto block right there. Or if she throws a special and she consumes madness, then she'll auto block you as well. Basically, anytime she consumes madness, which I think is heavy in SP2, she will put on the auto block. And so I think that can catch people. And I feel like her specials aren't the easiest to dex. She gets the impact buff as well, which allows her to hit hard to the blocks. So yeah, overall, I think she's an underrated defender in the game, and I feel like a few times I've had to place her in defense, and she's done relatively well in Battlegrounds for me. So that's Cosmic, the underrated defender of Scream. And is this the last one? What do we have left? Mystic. I think the last one is this one. Let's fast forward. So Mystic again, maybe another super controversial one, but I'm going with Ebony Maw. Why Ebony Maw? Because Ebony Maw, even though he's considered a defender, I feel like people don't realize how strong he is. And I feel like even if you play him well, so here I am with Spider Woman, who should be a good counter, but when he throws that first special, you get all this degen damage, which I feel like is pretty unavoidable. Even though I've done a good job of like counterattacking his special ones, which slows down the whatever that is, the falter, he still can be a really difficult defender to deal with. So here's a pretty clean fight against him, and I still end up taking a lot of damage. And so yeah, I feel like he's good. And then on top of that, so if you play him well, great. But if you don't play him well, you can get faltered, which could push degen damage on you. You can also, he's hard to parry. He just has a lot of things that I feel like make him a very, very underrated defender, even though he is a good defender. But I think he's even more underrated than his status is. And so there you have it. Those are my picks for just good around play of underrated champions in this game. Let me know what you think. I definitely had a lot of like second and third places in this sort of exercise, and I'm curious to hear what you think about underrated defenders in this game. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you again soon for another one. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.